Donald Trump's immigration policy has taken a disgusting new twist, and a warning. This story will leave you with the temperament of an alligator. A very angry alligator. I'm David Reddish. Welcome to Occupy Democrats. One of the least discussed, or not discussed enough anyway, provisions of Trump's new budget bill is the massive appropriation of funds it grants to immigration enforcement, better known as ICE. If you follow our channel, and you should, you are no doubt already aware of the widespread raids and mass incarcerations against immigrants, and occasionally even U.S. citizens. Lest you need a reminder, check out this situation here in Los Angeles yesterday.
Overreach of your authority.
By 11:10, there was tanks and all this. They got tanks all through here. They got the white vans. They got the trucks. They got all this out.
About 10:30 Monday morning, heavily armored Border Patrol officers with a fleet of vehicles and some on horseback descended on MacArthur Park. This is the heart of the immigrant community, just 2 miles from downtown L.A. Sky Fox was overhead as the operation kicked in. Our Fox 11 photographer, Sam Dubin, on the ground, recording the dramatic scene. Immigration agents in military green carrying rifles. Neighbors and community activists rushed to the park, challenging those in the action. Children were scurried from the urban park.
The military pointed their guns at us and were screaming at us, cursing to get the out of there.
Among those arriving on the scene was L.A. Mayor Karen Bass, flanked by security and in a crush of people pushing for the operation to end.
And if you think that's gross, brace yourself, it gets worse. You will be happy to know that intervention by Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass helped end the raid, and no immigrants were detained. That's the latest in a series of raids here in LA, and it remains to be seen how Mayor Bass and Governor Gavin Newsom approach ICE in the future. And while they both publicly oppose ICE raids, other politicians, like diminutive Florida Governor Ron Desantis, have embraced them. In fact, Desantis was recently touting a new concentration camp for immigrants in the Florida Everglades.
Normally on a Friday, the Everglades would be so quiet, but right now the hills are alive with the sound of construction. Joining us right now is Governor Ron DeSantis here in the great state of Florida. You came up with this idea.
DeSantis seems way too proud there, doesn't he? Trump administration officials, along with DeSantis, bragged that the facility was assembled in a matter of days and that the local wildlife would keep those in detention from escaping. They failed to note the environmental hazard to the Everglades wildlife that the camp actually poses, as well as the fact that the interiors began to flood almost immediately. Lord forbid there's a hurricane. And now the story gets so much worse. Detainees began arriving at Alligator Alcatraz last week, and prisoners have begun to detail the horrific conditions there. Now this is a longish clip, but there's a lot to unravel here. Take a look.
Charged with aggravated assault with deadly weapon and battery.
Last week, Cuban reggaeton artist Liamzi Izquierdo, known as La Figura, faced a judge following an aggravated assault that happened in Miami-Dade. According to La Figura's girlfriend, she received a call from him this morning from Alligator Alcatraz.
Soy Leansi La Figura.
I am Leamsi La Figura. We've been here at Alcatraz since Friday. There's over 400 people here. There's no water to take a bath. It's been 4 days since I've taken a bath.
La Figura goes on to talk about what he says are the horrific living conditions inside the facility.
They only brought a meal once a day and it had maggots. They never take off the lights for 24 hours. The mosquitoes are as big as elephants.
During the call, La Figura passes the phone to other detainees who describe their experience.
They're not respecting our human rights. We're human beings. We're not dogs. We're like rats in an experiment. I don't know their motive for doing this. If it's a form of torture, a lot of us have our residency documents and we don't understand why we're here.
Another man who says he's Colombian explains that he needs medication and that he hasn't had access to it in days.
I'm on the edge of losing my mind. I've gone 3 days without taking my medicine. It's impossible to sleep with this white light that's on all day.
The man goes on to say what little faith he's been holding on to has diminished since being detained at Alligator Alcatraz.
La Biblia que tenía me la quitaron.
They took the Bible I had and they said, here there is no right to religion. And my Bible is the one thing that keeps my faith. And now I'm losing my faith.
Dear Lord. Multiple outlets have reported similar stories of detainees not allowed to bathe, eating rotten food, or other filthy conditions. And even if you somehow think the people being held there are criminals, which they aren't, conditions in U.S. prisons aren't this bad. And as summer continues, as it gets hotter and unbelievably humid as it does in the Everglades, I wouldn't count on those conditions improving. No doubt Trump and his leeches will deny these reports, claiming that they are invented by criminals who just want attention. You know, kind of like a felon president who can't stop posting on social media. But look, the bigger point is this. Journalists are currently not allowed in the facilities to take survey of the conditions. In fact, in a bit of good news, Miami Mayor Daniela Levine Cava is now demanding Homeland Security Director Kristi Noem allow her to inspect the facility. There's also a federal lawsuit over the environmental hazards that the facility poses, so at least there is some pushback. But alligator concentration camps with maggot-infested food? People not allowed to bathe? Lord, save us, this is turning into Schindler's List at a dangerously fast pace. Pray Mayor Cava or one of these lawsuits is able to shutter the facility before even worse human rights abuses take place. This is not who we are, America. So shame on you, Ron DeSantis, and shame on Donald Trump. This is Occupy Democrats.